I was sitting at the dinner table with my dad last weekend, and I noticed something that just kind of, well, it broke my heart a little bit.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
Well, I had made his absolute favorite meal. I mean, the one he has asked for on every birthday for as long as I can remember. And he just sort of sat there. He pushed the food around his plate, took maybe 2 bites, and then quietly set his fork down.
Oh, I know that scene very well. The
Yeah.
polite pushing of the food.
Yeah, exactly. And when I asked him if something was wrong, he just gave this little shrug and said, I'm just not that hungry today. And it was just a half-finished plate sitting there.
Right. And you probably worried that he was upset or feeling sick.
You're right. I mean, my first thought was, is he okay? But then I started noticing other things, like he reaches for the salt shaker maybe 3 or 4 times during a meal now.
Ah, yes. The
Uh,
heavy salt shaker. That is a very classic sign.
Right. He just shakes it over everything. And it's just this
Ah.
quiet, almost invisible mystery. You see it happening and you just don't have the words for it.
I see it all the time. And honestly, I lived through it myself a few years back. It is remarkably common. But families, they tend to just brush it off.
Yeah, we just think, oh, they're just getting older or they're just being a picky eater now.
Exactly. We treat it like it's a personality quirk or maybe even stubbornness.
Yeah.
But there is a very real, deep physical shift happening right under our noses. Literally.
Literally under our noses.
Yes, literally. And it breaks my heart because we don't talk about the body changing in this way. People just suffer through these terribly bland meals in total silence.
That is exactly what we want to dig into today on this deep dive. We really need to unpack this stealthy way our sense of taste changes as the years go by.
It is so important to talk about.
Because it's not just about knowing what the body is doing, it's about figuring out how to bring the joy of eating back. Losing that simple joy, I mean, it takes such a heavy toll on your spirit.
It really does. It takes a toll on the spirit and on your health. And I just want to say right up front to anyone listening, if you are feeling this or if you're watching a parent go through this, um, this is not a failing.
Right.
It is not a medical alarm bell. It is just a completely natural shift in the body.
Yeah.
And the most surprising part of it all is that the answer doesn't actually sit on the tongue.
Wait, really? It's not the tongue.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We have to look somewhere else entirely to find the missing flavor.
Okay, well, before we can fix the flavor, we kind of need to understand where it went. So if the tongue isn't the main problem, what is actually physically happening in our mouths as we get into our 60s and 70s?
Well, taste is really a team effort. It's this beautiful partnership between your tongue, your nose, and your brain.
Okay.
And as the years pass, every member of that team goes through a gentle change. But let's start with the tongue because we need to clear up a very big myth.
Oh, the myth that our taste buds just sort of die off and disappear. Because I have always heard that you just lose them, like your tongue just gets smooth.
Yes, that is a huge exaggeration. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
The little structures are absolutely still there. What happens is that they just take a little longer to renew themselves.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, when we are in our 20s or 30s, the cells in our taste buds are constantly healing and replacing themselves, maybe every week or two. It's a very fast turnover.
Like a fast factory line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as our bodies gather more years, that renewing process just naturally slows down. Cells get a little tired. So on any given Tuesday, you just have fewer active cells ready to catch the flavors in your food.
It's like you're operating with a skeleton crew on the tongue. That is a perfect way to put it. The crew is smaller. But here's the real twist, the part that surprises everyone. Okay, I'm ready.
The true culprit behind why that favorite childhood meal starts tasting like wet cardboard, it's actually the nose.
The nose. The nose is responsible for the cardboard taste.
Yes. We have to talk about the little scent catchers high up in your nasal cavity because those delicate little sensors, they endure a lot of wear and tear over a lifetime.
Just from breathing.
From breathing, from common colds, from dust, from just living a long, full life. Their ability to heal themselves weakens over time. And this quiet drop-off often begins in our 50s.
Wow, that earth.
Very often, yes. And by the time we reach our 70s, it is very, very noticeable for a lot of folks.
But, I mean, when I think about eating, I think about chewing. I don't really think about smelling my food unless it's like a pie in the oven. How much of the heavy lifting is the nose actually doing when we eat?
It is doing the vast majority of it. When you look closely at how the body works, we find that smell is responsible for roughly 70 to 75% of what we call flavor.
Wait, 75%? Are you serious?
I am.
That means the tongue is barely doing anything at all.
The tongue is just giving you the basic facts. Like when you take a bite of an apple, your tongue is really just saying, oh, this is sweet or this is sour.
Right, the basics.
Exactly. The actual complex feeling of eating an apple, those bright fruity notes, that feeling of freshness, that all comes from tiny flavor clouds rising up the back of your throat and into your nose as you chew.
Oh, wow. Of the back of the throat.
Yes. Your brain takes the basic sweet from the tongue, mixes it with the rich smell from the nose, and sews them together into one beautiful experience.
Okay, so to use like a music analogy, trying to enjoy a meal with a fading sense of smell is like listening to a song on a really broken stereo.
Yes.
The tongue is just giving you the heavy bass notes, the sweet or the salty thumps, but the treble speakers are completely blown out, so you're entirely missing the violins and the gentle melodies that actually make the song pretty.
That captures it so beautifully. You get the heavy bass, but you miss the music. And so many older folks are dealing with this. It's incredibly common to have this drop in smell as we reach our 70s and 80s.
It's just wild to think we're trying to fix a broken stereo by messing with the bass. And there are other things happening in the mouth too, right?
Yes, there are compounding factors. One of the biggest ones is just a simple lack of moisture. As we age, our mouths tend to get drier. And daily medications, which so many seniors take for blood pressure or just general wellness, they dry the mouth out even more.
Why does a dry mouth matter for flavor, though? Does it just make it hard to swallow?
It does make it hard to swallow, but saliva is actually the magical liquid that dissolves our food. If the food isn't dissolved by the moisture in your mouth, the flavor bits can never reach the sensors on your tongue.
Oh my goodness. So if your mouth is dry, the flavor is literally trapped inside the food. The tongue can't even get to those basic bass notes?
Exactly. The flavor is locked away. And on top of that, the nerve pathways that carry the message to your brain, they just move a little slower.
So the treble speakers are blown, the wiring is old, and the receiver is dropping the signal.
A perfect picture of what is going on. The whole system is just taking a breath and slowing down.
Okay, so if our whole sensory system is muffled like that, human beings are going to naturally try to adapt, right? Like my dad didn't just sit there eating cardboard. He tried to fix it. How do people usually react to this without even knowing it?
Because nobody tells us to expect this change, people end up trying to cope in two very different but equally troubling ways. Let's call them Path A and Path B.
Okay, walk me through Path A.
Path A is the overfixer. This is the person who feels like the food is totally dull, so they start pouring things on it. They're desperately trying to turn the volume up.
Ah, the salt shaker.
The salt shaker.
Yeah.
Heavy sauces, extra scoops of sugar. They're just trying to feel something. And it's a very quiet danger because we see folks in their later years eating much more sodium than younger people, which puts a lot of quiet stress on blood pressure and heart health.
But wait, if my soup tastes like water, reaching for the salt is just basic human instinct. Like, why doesn't the salt fix it? Can they not taste the salt either?
Oh, they can taste it, but it's just the wrong tool. Remember, the real problem isn't a lack of salt. The problem is a lack of aroma, because the nose isn't picking up the subtle scents.
Right.
Throwing salt on the food doesn't bring back the garlic or the herbs. It just shocks the tongue with one massive, heavy sensation. It covers up the dullness by just overwhelming the mouth.
Going back to the stereo, if the high notes are broken, dumping salt on it is like turning the bass up so loud that it shakes the walls and hurts your ears. You didn't fix the song, you just blasted your senses so you wouldn't notice the missing melody.
That is exactly what happens. The salt just bulldozes whatever gentle flavor was left. It's a trap, really.
Which brings us to Path B. If Path A is blasting the bass, what is the other way people cope?
Path B is letting go. This is when a person quietly realizes that eating just isn't fun anymore, so they just stop caring.
Oh, that's sad.
It is. They lose interest, they start eating very small amounts, or they just eat the exact same bland toast every single day because it's easy. Or, even worse, they skip meals entirely.
That sounds exactly like what I saw with my dad, the half-finished plate. It almost looks like depression, honestly.
It can look very much like sadness, and honestly, it does affect your mood because food is how we connect with our families. But the physical worry here is huge. This path leads to frailty, loss of energy, and missing out on very important nutrients.
Like what? What are they missing?
Well, when taste drops off, folks often stop eating foods rich in protein, zinc, and B vitamins.
So by just picking at their food, they are starving their bodies of the good stuff.
Yes, and here is the truly unfair part of the biology. Being low on zinc actually makes it harder for your cells to heal. So by not eating, you hurt your body's ability to repair the very taste cells that could help you enjoy food again.
Oh, wow. That is a vicious circle. You lose the joy of food, so you eat less, and eating less makes your body even worse at tasting the food.
It is a harsh loop. And when you add in the daily pills for blood pressure that dry the mouth or a little winter cold that stuffs up the nose, people get pushed down these paths very quickly.
It's so easy to just talk about the body mechanics, cells and nerves. But when you see an actual human being living through this, it changes their whole world. I was actually talking to a friend about this recently, and her story really brought this salt trap into focus for me.
Oh, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so her mom, let's call her Sarah, she's in her early 70s, always been this amazing home cook. But slowly, her own recipe started tasting like nothing to her.
Because the nose was quietly slowing down.
Exactly. But she didn't know that. She thought she was doing something wrong, so she instinctively just started pouring salt on everything. Her morning eggs, her evening soups, just covered in it.
Just chasing that feeling on the tongue.
Right. But then her daughter gently explained this exact thing to her, that the nose was the issue, not the tongue. And Sarah completely changed her kitchen habits. She put the salt away and started using fresh garden herbs, lots of lemon, and warm spices.
And I bet it changed everything.
Within weeks, she told my friend she was actually excited for dinner again, and she wasn't worrying about her blood pressure anymore because the salt was gone.
Because the food came alive again. She stopped trying to force the tired tongue to work and just gently woke up the nose instead.
It's beautiful. Contrast that with another story I heard about an older gentleman. We can call him Michael. He's a retired guy, late 60s, and he fell deep into the second path, the letting go path.
The apathy.
Yeah. Meals just became a chore. He lived alone, so he just shrank his portions, lost a bunch of weight, and just ate cold deli meat sandwiches every day just to survive.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
But his daughter stepped in. She started coming over and making these warm, deeply fragrant stews, things with lots of onions and garlic and rosemary.
Oh, wonderful.
And he completely found his appetite again. The smell of the warm kitchen literally woke up his body. To me, that just proves we do not have to accept a bland, joy-lit diet as we get older. We don't just have to quietly suffer.
Never. We never have to just endure it. Food is our culture. It's our comfort. Losing it is a heavy blow. But these stories show that we can gently guide the body back.
I really want to dig into that, how we guide the body back, because bypassing the tongue and aiming for the nose sounds a bit like magic. What is the actual everyday kitchen toolkit we can use for this?
It's mostly about kitchen wisdom. And the very first tool, the most important one, is just heat, warmth.
Wait, heat. Why does the temperature of the food matter more than what the food actually is?
Because warmth is what lifts the scent into the air. Think about when you walk past a bakery early in the morning. You smell the fresh bread from down the street, right?
Ooh, yeah, it's the best smell in the world.
And that's because the heat of the ovens is pushing those flavor clouds out into the air. If you take a bowl of chicken soup and eat it cold right out of the fridge, all those beautiful scents are trapped in the cold broth.
The flavor is literally frozen in place.
Exactly. But if you simply warm that exact same bowl of soup on the stove, the heat wakes it up. The scents rise, they travel up into your nose, and the flavor blooms.
So rule number one for anyone dealing with this, ditch the cold leftovers. No more cold sandwiches for dinner.
Yes, warmth is your best friend.
Yeah.
The second tool is leaning into strong, natural aromatics. We are talking about the holy trinity of cooking: onions, garlic, and fresh ginger.
Oh, ginger is so good.
It is. When garlic and onions hit a warm pan with a little olive oil, they release scents that can penetrate even a very tired nose. And ginger is wonderful because it also gently calms the stomach. Then you bring in the fresh green herbs: basil, thyme, cilantro, rosemary.
Those green oils are basically just little flavor bombs, aren't they?
They are packed with natural oils. They gently stimulate the pathways in the nose without needing a single grain of salt.
I've also noticed a lot of older folks having success with acidity, like using lemon or lime. If the herbs are waking up the nose, what is a squeeze of lemon doing?
Acidity is like turning on a bright light in a dim room. It cuts through the heavy feeling in the mouth. It makes the tongue tingle in a very crisp, vivid way. So while the rosemary is doing the beautiful work in your nose, a splash of fresh lemon juice wakes up the tongue, making the whole bite feel fresh and alive.
Oh, I love that. It's like turning up the contrast on an old television set. Suddenly the picture is sharp again.
Exactly. And then you can layer in those lovely warm spices from the pantry. Cinnamon, cumin, smoked paprika. These give your food a deep, rich feeling.
All entirely without adding sodium. It's brilliant. But, it's not just what you put in the pot, right? It's how you actually sit down and eat it.
Yes, the habits of the table are just as important. The simplest one is just drinking water.
Right, because of the dry mouth we talked about earlier. If saliva is the magic liquid that unlocks the flavor, drinking a glass of water before you eat is literally turning the system back on.
It is absolutely essential. Drink water throughout the day. And right alongside that is the simple act of slowing down. We live in a world where everyone eats standing up or staring at the television.
Guilty as charged.
We all do it. But if you sit down and gently, slowly chew your food, you are doing two vital things. You are breaking the food open to release the flavor, and your breathing is pumping those scent clouds right up into your nose.
So if you just inhale your food in 3 bites, you swallow all that beautiful flavor before it ever has a chance to reach the nose. You're cheating yourself out of the meal.
You are rushing right past the joy of it.
Yeah.
I have a friend down in Florida, a lovely grandmother in her 70s. She didn't buy fancy groceries or change her whole life. She just did 3 small things. She added fresh basil to her meals, she squeezed a little lemon on top, and she made sure the food was piping hot.
And what happened?
Within 2 weeks, she called me and said her dinners were vibrant again.
2 weeks! That is amazing. It really shows how ready the body is to bounce back if you just give it the right gentle nudges.
The pathways are still there, they just need a little extra coaxing. And this actually ties into something much bigger and quite beautiful about how our minds work as we get older.
Oh, how so?
Well, the folks who study the brain, they focus on this idea of keeping the mind flexible and sharp. Your brain does this incredible job of stitching the smell and the taste together.
The brain is the stereo mixer, putting the song together.
Exactly. And we find that this mixing skill in the brain stays incredibly strong in folks who actively use their senses. When you cook with new spices, when you smell fresh herbs, you are asking your brain to work, to make new connections.
So, by putting away the boring oatmeal and leaning into the garlic and the lemon and the cumin, you are basically taking your brain for a gentle walk. You're asking it to stay alert.
Yes. Keeping the mind active requires giving it new things to do. If you just surrender and eat the same bland piece of toast every day, those pathways in the mind just sort of go to sleep from boredom.
Use it or lose it. It applies to our minds just as much as our muscles.
It truly does.
As we bring this deep dive to a close, I really just want to echo why this matters so deeply to all of us. Whether you are noticing this quiet shift in your own body, or you're trying to figure out why your aging mom is suddenly pushing away her favorite plate of food, you have to look with gentle eyes. This is not a failure. It isn't a stubborn mood.
No, not at all. It is just the body waving a little flag saying that things are changing, and it's time to change our habits to match the body we have today.
Right. It's time to let go of the super salty snacks and the cold leftovers from the fridge. It is time to embrace the warmth of a hot bowl of soup, the smell of fresh herbs from the garden, a squeeze of bright lemon, and just sitting down and taking the time to chew. You really can cook your way back to loving your dinners and protecting your body at the same time.
I'd love to leave everyone with a final thought to mull over, building right on that idea of keeping the brain sharp. We talked about how actively smelling and tasting new flavors helps keep the mind engaged. It makes you wonder, if trying out complex, interesting new spices forces the brain to build fresh connections, could expanding our daily menu in our 70s and 80s actually be a delicious form of mental therapy?
Oh, wow. That completely changes how I look at my kitchen. So the spice rack isn't just for cooking anymore.
Maybe your spice rack is the ultimate brain game.
The spice rack as a brain game. I absolutely love that. So the next time you or your dad or your mom reaches for that salt shaker for the 4th time, just pause. Don't turn up the heavy bass just to rattle the walls. Go grab some fresh rosemary, warm the plate up, and let the whole beautiful song play again.
These thoughts, these questions, they don't have to stop here. Wellness Geek Seniors has many more podcasts and videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel and explore other episodes. They all flow the same gentle way. If this podcast felt genuinely useful to you, share it with even one person in your life. That one share can bring a real change in someone's life. And it helps Wellness Geek Seniors reach more people who truly need this. If this brought you real value, look for the join button. right next to the Wellness Geek Seniors logo below this video. Click it and become a member of the Wellness Support Circle. Your support helps honest health awareness reach thousands who are silently struggling. Wellness Geek Seniors moves forward because of you. Thank you so much from the heart for being here.